So we had O'Reilly raging about the fact that the country's getting less religious. Now, let's be fair. Let's give Rush Limbaugh an opportunity as well. He's got a unique reason why he thinks we might be headed in that direction.
The last 8 years have not been static. They have been dynamic. There have been a lot of things happening in various denominations around the country that might explain this drop. The Methodists, the Lutherans, the Presbyterians, the Episcopalians, the American version of the Church of England, have had dramatic changes in their structure and their organization. Many of these churches within these denominations now perform homosexual marriage. They ordain gay pastors and ministers, and in some cases, female and lesbian pastors and ministers, which you might think would cause some people to leave those churches if they disagreed with the decisions made.
Wait, let's think through that logic, or lack thereof. So he's saying, well, the churches aren't being conservative enough, and since they're doing these gay marriages, they're driving away good Christians from the churches. Well, then logically, the people who would be upset about that, you would imagine, would join more conservative churches.
Maybe.
Except they haven't. The people that have left the churches have become non-religious, meaning that they have gone further away from religion. If anything, they would believe that you're not doing enough gay marriages.
Yeah. Well, no, and he's sort of on to something. I do think that it's the changes in the churches that are driving people away, but it's not the gay marriage in liberal churches. It's when you talk to millennials, they say, I don't want to demonize against gay people, and I don't largely care to shut down women's ability to get an abortion. But the churches are all saying, no, you need to go and you need to vote for anti-abortion politicians, and we hate gays. In fact, we think they should all die. And then they're turned off by the extremism in the churches, and so they leave religion altogether. That theory actually has some evidence behind it, not his.
Plus, this doesn't have anything to do with gay marriage. Again, this is a macro trend that's happening in Europe, that's happening here, and it's happening for completely different reasons, having nothing to do with politics.
Yeah.
It's a far more deep-seated cultural issue. And so it has far more to do with people who are young saying to their parents and their grandparents and to their priests, if they're still going to church, you mean to tell me you actually believe that women came from the rib of man? Like you think that's what really happened? Like not like it's an analogy or a metaphor or a symbol. You think, no, there was a dude named Adam, and God was like, okay, dude, let me take your rib. Hold on, I'm going to need your rib for a second. And made women out of it, and then a snake came by. And then the apple and the whole, like, you think that shit is real?
That's just like your opinion, man.
Okay, no, that's what's happening, not gay marriage,
I hope that that's what's happening. I don't know. I hope that that's what it is. I would prefer that it's a theological, like, awakening amongst the youth. Maybe that's what it is. But we do have also a little bit more about how gays are bullying good Christian Americans.
But even with this drop, 70% of the country still identify as Christians. And yet it gets back to a question I raised the other day. How is it possible that less than 1 million gay activists are able to bully and steamroll an entire country on the subject of marriage? By the same token, how is it that 70% of the population can be bullied and silenced and coerced into accepting societal evolution with which they disagree because of their religious beliefs? It's not just the Republican Party caving, folks. It's not just the Republican Party not engaging in pushback. There's a whole lot of groups that make up the majority in this country, one way or the other, who are not pushing back.
Okay, so to answer your question, Rush, how is it possible that these 1 million gay bullies, the gay gangs running amok through America is the real issue, can convince all these Americans to stop being religious? The answer is it's not possible because that's not what happened. and the funny thing is, why is he even framing it that way? It's not just because he wants to blame gays for all the problems. It's because it's his frame of reference. his frame of reference is, how do you change anybody? You bully them.
You steamroll them.
Right. That's what he's done his whole life. All I do is I bully people and I push them and I push them.
Yep.
And that's how I get change. And he's like, so how did the non-religious gain all this strength? They must have bullied me.
Yeah.
They must have bullied Americans.
That's what it was.
Perhaps we just convinced them.
That's crazy talk.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's sad. Look, we get some schadenfreude out of watching O'Reilly and Rush Limbaugh sort of like squirm in their seats. They're so butthurt over these numbers. But the country is changing, and this is the experience that all older people have to go through. When you're 70 or you're 80, you look back and the country is not like it was when you were 15. You just have to accept that. And in this particular case, it seems like a good change. That people are more accepting of people who are not like them, who are more tolerant of other sorts of people. That should not be a bad thing from their point of view, but unfortunately it is.
Yeah. Look, it even happens to me. I look at the Vine kids and I go, how are you going to make a video in 6 seconds?
I don't even get the
Like,
Vine.
what do you?
I don't get Vine.
Yeah, what are you doing in 6 seconds? All you have time in 6 seconds is to fall and everybody to laugh. Right?
It's pretty funny though.
So
No, I know it's an art. It's an art.
I know, and I've
don't
become
get
a
it.
grandpa.